What is up, everyone? Today I'm in a Chevy Corvette Z06 and I'll be showing you around the outside of the car, having a look at the inside, and then getting this thing out on the road to see how it drives. Let's take a closer look. But first, let's see how this thing sounds on startup. Wow, just listen to that monstrous exhaust. Okay, let's do a 0 to 60 run. I'm going 0 miles an hour and we're off. That's 60. A little bit of a handful. So the 0 to 60 time on the Corvette Z06 is 3.3 seconds. Might be a little bit quicker than that, but that's what they have on paper. And then from braking, going 60 back to 0 takes about 105 feet. This car weighs about 3,500 pounds, so it's quite light considering how big it is. And a lot of that comes from the use of carbon fiber in the roof, and then this weight-saving aluminum frame, and there's just a lot of other weight savings throughout the car. This car doesn't have any traditional door latches or anything like that. Everything is done with switches, so that saves a lot of weight. You do obviously have some latches in case the electronics fail or your battery's dead, so you can still get out if you need to. So the Z06 is powered by a 6.2 liter supercharged V8 that throws out 650 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque. This car's got close to a 50-50 weight distribution. It's actually closer to 49-51 with a slight rear bias. There's this little rear lip on the trunk, and that adds 80% of the downforce to the car, which is pretty incredible. It's a good thing as well because 650 horsepower in a rear-wheel drive car is just nuts. So this car is definitely a track weapon. It's got these massive tires. They're almost racing slicks on a car like this. It's pretty impressive. It also has this performance data recorder. It's got a 720p video camera with a camera up like by the mirror, so it'll record a driver's point of view going around a track. It overlays it with all kinds of telemetry, lap times, how many G's you're pulling. So that's really kind of a cool little bit of kit that this car has. Definitely is geared more towards a track car. That said, however, one of the main complaints about this car is that when you're taking it around the track and driving it really, really hard, it frequently overheats and the engine goes into limp home mode. So that's one thing to watch out for if you're considering tracking something like this. So this car has an 8-speed automatic transmission. You can get it with a 7-speed manual as an option, and that manual is pretty trick. It's got some automatic rev matching, so you can look like a pro even if you're not used to driving manual that much. But this particular one I'm in has this 8-speed auto. It's pretty nice. The shifts are pretty quick. I don't think they're the quickest on the market. AMG has their speed shift transmission that shifts a little bit quicker, but you can still have plenty of fun with this one. Transmission can be put into manual mode, and then you have these paddle shifters at the 9 and 3 position on the car. so that you can shift the transmission. Because this is a track-oriented car, the paddle shifters are made out of plastic, so it's not the nice aluminum that you get on some higher-end cars, but they do still feel nice when you put your fingers on them. It's easy to find them. Okay, let's go find a tunnel. So this car has an all-aluminum body with a few pieces of carbon fiber here and there. The roof is carbon fiber, so it's actually fairly lightweight to take off and put in the trunk. It's got a nice little spot for it to latch in, so that's a pretty nice bit of engineering there. But yeah, what happens with this aluminum chassis is that it's actually much more rigid than a steel car. So much so, in fact, that Chevy has said for the convertible, you know, this isn't a convertible, this is just the coupe, you happen to be able to remove the roof. You can also get this car as a convertible, and they didn't actually need to do any structural reinforcing. The aluminum chassis was already stiff enough. This Z06 also has the Z07 package. I'm not sure what Chevy's doing with the names there, but what it means is this car has got some extra aerodynamics. So it has this see-through adjustable rear lip. There are also some carbon fiber splitters on the front of the car. This particular car has them painted this lovely gloss gray color. The car also comes with carbon ceramic brakes, which are great for track use. They're very resistant to brake fade, so that means they can get really hot. They can take these sudden braking, they can take the abuse of sudden braking over and over again without really wearing out. If you did that with regular brakes, you'd notice they get less and less effective, to the point where they might actually fail. So one of the most interesting options that you can put on this car is this build your own engine option. So they fly you out to the factory where they make these, I think it's in Tennessee, and for $5,000 you can build your own engine. The other thing that they've used is this NASA aerogel in the transmission tunnel. So in the middle of the car back here, in order to insulate the interior from some of the heat, they've sprayed this aerogel, and it's got some incredible insulation properties. It's like 99.8% air, but it's 39 times more effective at insulating your car than fiberglass. So you can thank that for weight savings and a nice, cool interior. That's pretty fun. This car has a lot of leather surfaces. They feel pretty nice. They're not the nicest that I've felt, but they're certainly not bad by any means. There's leather on the dashboard, the steering wheel's leather. You've got leather seats. The particular seats in this car are perforated, so you have heated or cooled seat option. There's a little bit of carbon fiber on the steering wheel. You can see it down here. Sounds good when you take it to red line. I really like how the information is set up in front of the driver. You've got this 8-inch screen, gives you a lot of information. You have various different readouts. You can see your oil pressure, battery voltage, your transmission temperature, and your oil temperature as well. Then you also have the charge on your supercharger, so you can see how many PSI it's putting out. And then obviously you've got things like your gas gauge and your speed. You also have certain things like lap time, so you can see your best, your previous, and your current, which is really helpful when you are racing around that track. Some of the other things you have in the interior are cup holders. So you've got spots for 2 different beverages right there. You've got this James Bond action cigarette lighter, or I guess it's a 12-volt power adapter. And then the center console opens up under the armrest. It's not very deep, but you've got another power outlet. You've got two places to put your USB plug, so you can plug in your phone. And it's not very deep. It's probably about 2 inches deep, so you can probably put some sunglasses in there. So a sunglass case, something like that, but it's not too deep, so there's not huge amounts of storage here. You've got a few pockets in the door as well. So it's really pretty easy to take the roof off. There's a latch above the driver, a latch above the passenger, and then you reach behind you and you push in on this tab while you're pulling the latch as well. And you have to have the doors open, or at least the windows down, so that you can pull the roof off, and then it just clips into this little spot in the trunk for it. It's really nicely designed, keeps it tucked away, but then it robs you of all your trunk space. This car has different settings. You have eco mode, weather mode, so that's probably crucial if it's snowy or wet. Eco mode, tour, sport mode, and track mode. I haven't really noticed too much of a difference between the different modes. I'm sure it affects something. It must be throttle response, and then the damping, and possibly the traction control as well. So one of the nice things about this car is it has this curve view camera, which is really helpful for when you're pulling into a parking spot. Sometimes there might be a lamppost or a big slab of concrete or something that you're trying to avoid, and what the cameras do is they let you see that obstacle, so your chances of cracking the very expensive carbon fiber front splitter are greatly diminished. So the rear view mirror in this car might make you a little bit paranoid. It has a blue and a red LED, which might kind of look like a cop car out of the corner of your eye. So it definitely has you checking it out fairly often to make sure you're good. This car's got a neat trick with the center screen. There's actually a button you can press to hide it, and then you can put things behind it. So if you ever need to hide anything, that might be a good spot for it. This car's got a lot of other luxury features. It's got power seats, power mirrors. It's got this really nice Bose sound system. Sounds very premium. It's got a good amount of bass. Again, it's not the best of the best, but it's really pretty damn good. Yeah, this car doesn't shift for you in manual mode, so try not to miss your shifts, guys. Yeah, even when you put your foot down on the freeway, the back end starts squirming around a little. And that's with traction control on. This car's got a grab handle for the passenger. It's made out of aluminum. They're probably gonna need it. This car has a touch screen in the middle. I really like that. It's very intuitive. It's also got some buttons as well in case you're, you know, fumbling around and you can't really take your eyes off the road. So you've got options, but they're simple, they're straightforward, it makes sense, it's easy to use, and the touch screen is pretty responsive when you're clicking on it. So good job, Chevy. The car also has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which basically mirrors your phone on the car. So that's great for, you know, listening to music. If you want to use your phone's navigation system instead, you can do that. If you have any other apps that work with Android Auto, like maybe Audible or podcasts, they all work as well. My camera keeps falling down. The ride is just so rough. So I am really glad that the rear spoiler is see-through, because if you weren't able to see through it, there's literally a gap like 2 inches big that you'd be able to see. So this car's got around an $80,000 base price. The particular one I'm in is spec'd out to just over $100,000. It's quite a lot for this car, but then again, you've got supercar type performance in an everyday sports car. So I think it's worth it. Yeah, I'm really having a lot of fun driving this car. So yeah, let me know what you would get for 100K. Would you get this car? Would you get something like a C63 S AMG? Would you get a Jaguar F-Type? Let me know in the comments below. You know, on smoother roads, this car is actually pretty fun to drive. Under the hood, it's pretty clean. You can see the giant 6.2 liter motor. It's called the 4LT, that's Chevy's name for it. Not a huge amount of plastic under there, so you can see all the different pieces. That's probably for weight savings as well. If you were buying this car for the fact that it had all these weight savings, then you'd probably be a bit annoyed if it had all this plastic cladding everywhere. But it is a bit interesting because despite all these weight savings, you still have some luxury options like heated seats, cooled seats, this really nice sound system. So it's interesting. It's not a 100% track focused car, but I'd say it's like 95% track focused. So is this car good at doing donuts? Yeah, it's good at doing donuts. Can you go 0 to 60 in it backwards? I don't know, but I'm not gonna check. Cool factor is a little debatable. This car is a little bit over the top. If you prefer more subtle styling, obviously this thing stands out like a sore thumb. But that said, if you like something that looks like the ultimate track weapon and you don't mind gobs of wings and other aero coming off the car, then this may be the car for you. Yeah, just the slightest touch on the throttle and this thing goes crazy. So yeah, that is the Z06. It may just be the ultimate track weapon as long as it doesn't go into limp home mode on you. As far as something that's good for daily driving, it's pretty good. It's a little rough, obviously because it's all tuned for the track, but it does have a lot of modern conveniences inside, like comfortable leather seats, heating and cooling on the seats, and then Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So if you're looking for something to spend $100,000 on, and you want something that is track ready with all these cool options like the performance data recorder and then all the information you need like current lap time, best lap time, that kind of thing, then you might just like this car. So that is a wrap. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with my latest videos. I release a new one each week. Until next week, take care.